What's up, everybody? This is the Guys Podcast, Capture Media. I'm Akhtar Muhammad. I got my brother, my co-host, Tyree Acosta. What's good, bro?
Yeah, we here.
How's everything?
I'm good, brother. I'm good. What's on the agenda today, brother?
So today is a very important topic, right? This is something that I've been thinking about, and now I have data to back up some of the things that I want to talk about today. Are black women who leave relationships after they had a kid with a man for no other reason other than they're not happy anymore. The relationship has gotten boring. Are they just as problematic and guilty as people in the black community who are selling drugs and who are just destroying and committing crime in the black community? Are they just as bad when we know that raising kids in a two-parent household is very important? Raising kids in a two-parent household is a better foundation than being a single mother. We know that single mothers, kids that's raised in single mother households have higher chances of going to prison, going to jail, just being arrested, being involved with gang activity, being degenerates, being illiterate, not graduating school. So Tyree, before I get into this data from the CDC, what do you think about that?
That's a loaded question. You just asked a big ass question, dude. Like you should present the information first.
Okay.
Because that was a big question.
Okay.
Let me shorten your question for the audience because I know what you're saying. So, are black single mothers responsible for the detriment of the black community? You added a lot of outliers there because I know you want to counter what the comment section is going to say.
But wait, let me hold you to the fire. Are they?
Well, that article you just pulled up.
All right, so
yeah,
now,
because I
and you have the research. I sent it to you.
Yeah,
you didn't even.
I read it.
Because listen, and we're black men, and we hold the black community. We hold the black community accountable, right? I'm always holding the black community accountable because I want us to do better.
Black men and women. Men need to do
black
better.
Men and women. I want us to do better, right, as a whole. And one of the things that I was thinking about is, we know the problem. What's the solution? And we all know that, the destruction of the black family led to a lot of problems in the black community, right? So now, what have you been hearing about black fathers historically? You've been hearing black fathers are deadbeats.
The narrative is
single mother households because black fathers leave, they're not spending time with their kids, right? Right?
Yeah.
All right, so now, let's get into this. According to a 2013 report, right, by the CDC, black fathers are more involved in their children's lives than fathers of other races, including daily care, non-residential care, and involvement overall. Black fathers who didn't live with their children are more likely to be involved in care such as reading, helping with homework, and talking to their children. Black fathers are more involved in their children's lives than fathers of other races, whether they live there with the child or not. Black fathers who live with the children are more likely to provide physical care such as bathing, diapering, feeding, than fathers of other races. Oh my goodness. Yo, that's crazy.
So did we just debunk deadbeat dads in the black community?
I mean, according to the CDC, right?
Put it on the screen, Haas.
Yeah.
You gotta read it.
So this is big to me. And so now the question is, why are black mothers, right, after they have kids, why are they leaving these situations and becoming single mothers? And what kind of impact does that have on the black community? Are they leaving because they just fell out of love? Are they leaving because of infidelity, right? Are they leaving because they're not happy? And is that more important than staying together for the overall progressiveness of the black community? Are you saying that? I wish, what's funny? Like, I have to bring some women on here, some black women that have this discussion. Is your happiness as a black woman with kids, is your happiness, right, and your lack of boredom more important than raising your children in a two-parent household? Does your happiness mean more to you than raising kids in a two-parent nuclear family? So are we saying that now we know what the problem is, Ty?
No, do we know what I was thinking about your question, and I'm like, it's a it's a kind of a, I don't want to say a leading question, but it's like, but I get what you're saying, and I agree with you that there is this what I take away from this.
Listen, what
I take away from this, there is something going on.
And
here.
hold on, and even if
like,
okay, but so now what if people say, hey, black fathers have more time to spend time with their kids because they're not working,
they're not making money, or
they're not making money.
Like,
cool, okay, but I would rather have a father, right? I would rather have fathers that don't make enough or are in between jobs, still spending time with their children, right? Than a father that makes all the money but doesn't spend time with their child or children, right?
What about the women that would say?
Wait, hold on. But the things that were said, it wasn't that black fathers weren't making enough. It wasn't that black fathers didn't have jobs. It was black fathers are not there. So we have to be very clear, right? The stories were not black fathers weren't financially able. It was they're not spending time. And according to the CDC report, not only are they spending time with their kids, they're spending more time with their kids than men of other races are. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
The older you get, the more you figure out that there was more to your father's story than you were led on, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody can go back to maybe an argument between mom and dad, mm-hmm. where you might have thought your dad was in the wrong because of how your mom framed the story or mm-hmm. framed the argument.
And also, too, you're living with your mom, right?
That's in a single mother situation. But even if not, even if not that situation.
But I mean, you're going to probably believe, right, who you're staying with and who you spend most time with. Even though black fathers are involved, they still probably spend more time with their mom.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, in any regard, women have a way of narrating their problems in a way that kind of gets you on their side. Yeah,
it's just like when you date a woman and you ask her about her past experiences or relationships.
She's never wrong in any of those relationships.
It's always the guy was a narcissist, the guy was controlling. This is why when I talk to women, I say, tell me some things that he did wrong and tell me some things that you did wrong. Because if you just ask, why did the relationship end or why did it, fall apart? It's he did this, he did that. I've never heard a woman, me personally, I mean, maybe other people's experiences are different, Todd, but I've never heard a woman say that the relationship ended because of things that she did wrong. Maybe that's just me, but I don't know, bro.
Well, this makes me think of, too, it just gives credibility to me, to some of the men or a lot of the men who say, like, I tried to be there, but she made it difficult for me.
But also, too, let's talk about how black women have used, right, the family courts as leverage to destroy the black man. Right? Let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. They use the family courts as agents of destruction, right, to aid in taking the black man down when he wants to spend time. Like, why the fuck should a father have to fight for the right to see his kid? You have to fight for the right to see your kid? Let's talk about how in the family court system, alimony is always, mostly always taken from the man to the woman. Let's talk about how, custody. Let's talk about how custody is always predominantly more so awarded, right, to the woman opposed to what the man gets. So let's talk about how the black woman, right, utilizes the court system as leverage against the black man and how that can actually destroy the black man. A man might go to court, might just have a judge that woke up on the wrong side of the bed, might be feeling, a certain kind of way and then rules against him. And now he's put in a bad situation to where it's hard for him to see his children. Or how about the lies that's being told, right, in regards to certain things and how those lies can affect, right, a man's ability to see his children. So it's like, it's crazy, man. But now with the CDC report coming out and understanding that black men are there spending time with their kids, what's the problem, Tyler?
I mean, I want to dig deeper because it's how you look at statistics, right? So when I first see it, I'm like, oh, so somebody who's full of crap, full of shit. Like, okay, this is the narrative, and it's actually not that. Because even I found myself angry at the narrative, but even believing in it because of what they depict in the media and what they depict on TV and the movies that they show us, and it's carefully framed so that even I felt like I believe it. And then when you have some anecdotal evidence, whereas my father, he didn't stay, but I didn't know the full story of why he didn't stay. So it seems to all corroborate. But then when I see that statistic, I'm like,
Like, all my
there's-
friends, all my black friends, bro, I don't know any deadbeat dads, me personally. Because, like, you know, it's crazy. When I used to hear the story about like deadbeat dads, I used to say, you know, you can't be solipsistic and just look at the world from your perspective as far
Right.
as what you go through, right? You have to be the man that goes out there to, like, talk to others, look
Kind
at
of get
data.
a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
Look at the whole situation.
Exactly.
There's other perspective in
I
lives.
said it could be. But the men that I know, they're all involved in their kids' lives, right? But that still didn't convince me. I was still, you know, drinking the Kool-Aid. I was still thinking like, oh shit, yeah, black fathers, a lot of them are deadbeats, right? I was believing that shit until I read this report, and then I coupled that with my experience now with my friends and family members who are amazing dads, whether they got a divorce or not, whether they were married to the woman or not, they were present fathers. So my thing is,
So being deadbeat the only thing that stops you from being a deadbeat is being present.
I think given what you have. Now, if you're a man that's withholding finance just for the sake of withholding, that's wrong.
Right.
But if you're a man that is
can't
really
afford
trying,
it.
hold on, if you have $1 and you give 75 cents, even though that's all you have is $1, you're giving, right, that
But the
substantial
woman's
amount.
gonna say, "What the hell is 75 cents gonna buy?"
Exactly.
No, what I'm saying, the woman are gonna disagree with
No,
you.
I know, but you shouldn't have had a kid with that man then. If that man is that bad and he's that financially challenged, why sleep with him? Why have a kid with that kind of man? And even if he is going through a hard time, you should not break up the family. You should allow that kid to live in a household with his father, especially when you know it's better for the black community, all right? So what's the problem? And we see the entire landscape. Women initiate 77% of divorces. We all see that also, according to data, over 55% of men of all races, of all races, have not fathered a child. Right? There's more women having children than men. So not only are women leaving relationships, right? Women are also sleeping with the same men, according to data. And according to another statistic since the beginning of time, 70% of women have procreated, while only 40% of men have procreated. So what does that tell you? It's always been a large group of women sleeping with a small group of men, right? So come on, man.
I mean, it sounds like they're leaving for happiness. It sounds like they're engaging with these men based off of emotion. I love this man. He makes me feel this way. And they're not necessarily basing it off of qualities that are
For long-term
committed relationships.
Exactly.
Which is the whole reason why we kind of stated.
And here's another thing too I want to add, because this kind of like, here's another question that I had, Tariq, because it didn't make sense, right? If black fathers are the most involved fathers, according to that 2013 report, and kids are still being raised in single-parent household, and those kids are being raised in situations that create a destructive child to adulthood, are those women not only are they breaking up with these men or getting a divorce, are they keeping these men from these children? Because we all know that single fathers, even though the statistics is kind of, because there's more single mothers than single fathers, so it's not an honest representation of what the statistic is, but they do say that single fathers, right, raise more productive members of society than single mothers do, right, according to statistics too. But what I'm saying is, and why do judges tend to side with the mom as far as primary custody over the father if we know single fathers do better? That's another question I have.
Well,
right?
I mean, for that, I think because the baby comes out the woman, right? And I think that
It doesn't matter. It takes two.
I agree. It takes.
It doesn't matter. The
But I
woman's not
believe
more
that-
important than the father.
No, I understand that.
And what's better for society if single fathers do better than single mothers? Wouldn't they look at the
Wouldn't it make more
stats?
sense to award custody?
Exactly.
I mean, I get what you're saying from that perspective, but I think
Not to say the mother, where like, you know, the mother needs to breastfeed and breastfeed and provide milk for the baby, right? Of course, they can actually work that out, right, in the beginning, right? And then the father can get primary custody, right?
I think the problem is that women look at a child as their property alone. You know, like and
Like a man's a sperm donor.
yeah, and that right there, the word sperm donor is like even that is a
I've
disrespectful.
heard that. I've heard that.
And that's a disrespectful
He's
term.
just a sperm donor. That's what she says.
It's a disrespectful term because sperm is half the goddamn process. You need the sperm, so it's like for you to say yes, I did
Bro,
donate.
I've heard women say, "Oh, I don't care about him. He's not even a father. He's just a sperm donor." And we automatically believe that shit.
No. First of all, I get disgusted.
No, I'm saying society believes women's narratives in terms of, oh, the father's not trying, he's not there, he's not providing. We automatically believe it, not interviewing the man or not seeing what the man has to say.
I mean, we often don't ridicule or put a heavy scrutiny under women when they're leaving relationships. Like you said, most men don't ask women what they did wrong when they left. Most men are gonna co-sign what the hell they hear because it's going to give me a better opportunity to sleeping with you. Why would I disagree with you? Whatever you said, he was right. He don't deserve you. Whatever you say.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's also a
and that's
problem.
because the man who's talking to that woman 9 times out of 10 wants that woman, so he's gonna agree with that woman.
Yeah, and disagreeing with a woman or holding her accountable for those things won't.
Might put you in an unfavorable position
I definitely will put you
in terms of courtship, right?
In terms of sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you want to have
all,
sex with a woman, you're going to agree with her, right? Well,
Yeah.
some guys. Well, most guys.
Most guys.
Yeah, most guys.
So I believe that women get away with having these crazy narratives that, you know, like this is what it was, and he was this kind of guy. He was my favorite word is narcissistic. Everybody.
And you can't even
verify,
label someone.
and you can't.
Narcissism is something that has to be diagnosed. You can't even label somebody narcissistic. You know that, right?
Yeah, you have said that before.
Yeah, so you go research that.
You have to have a genuine diagnosis. You can't just call everyone narcissistic because you feel like they don't do what you want them to do.
Or controlling, right? I mean, because a man has boundaries, he's controlling. I mean, it's crazy.
I try to give grace to the other side and try to understand both sides. So I try to think of what could possibly be the reason why
they're leaving these relationships.
Yeah.
Their fucking happiness. So let me ask you a
really
question.
Think that's all that is?
Bro, let me ask you a question, bro. If the man is not abusive, right? If the man is not abandoning the family,
Why
coming
you skipped
back,
over cheating?
abandoning the family, I'm gonna get to that too, right? And the man is not cheating, it has to be she's leaving for personal happiness, right?
Yeah, if you eliminate all of those things,
Okay,
right?
and now cheating. So what you're saying to me that we all know a man is only as faithful as his options. Mm-hmm. And if you leave a man that's doing everything right, the only thing that he's doing wrong is cheating, which is not something that
but
you
see,
should look.
When you say only, you belittle.
Not saying that that's something that should be overlooked. What I'm saying is, what's the chances of you getting with another man and him not cheating in some kind of way, right? When do we understand and take into account that men and women are different? Biologically, they have different types of strategies, right? Like a woman's strategy biologically is to get with a man that's taller, stronger, can provide and do certain things, right? No one's asking females to go against their urges, right? And date men that go against their biological preference. Mm-hmm. But yet, when it comes to a man's biology, and we all know men biologically are not meant to be monogamous, right? A woman gets 1 egg per month. Men have millions of sperm since the beginning of time. And just like the data shows, women have always shared men. Even now, women are still sharing men. And I've heard women say they rather share a man that checks all their boxes than be with a man, only him, and her and him not checking her boxes. And when you leave women to their own devices, they typically go for the same man. How many men are single? 60%. How many women in a percentage? How many women are single? 30%. So naturally, women have always been comfortable with sharing men. Whether they want to admit it or not, the data shows women have always shared men. So for women to leave a man for him exercising options, I think it's crazy to me. Especially when you're leaving that man instead of raising your kids in a 2-parent household and giving that child a better chance of being productive in society.
So a woman would say, and I could see this in the comments now. So what you're telling me is, I'm supposed to be in an unfulfilled, unhappy relationship or marriage just so my kid can grow up, okay?
So then don't have kids. Don't have kids, be childless.
But you can't take back a kid once I have it.
Yeah, but you have to understand what's better for that kid.
So once I have this kid, I have to lock myself into being unhappy.
If you know that your kid there's a higher chance for your kid to not be a productive member of society, and as a whole, and for the black community as a whole, it's not better for the black community, you're not willing to make that sacrifice?
But what if that doesn't? You know, women don't always operate on probability. She could say, well, that might not happen.
Wait, what might not happen?
he might not become a detriment to the community.
I mean, look at the
He might
stats.
not,
But why not give your child a better chance to be productive?
because I'll be unhappy.
But it still comes down exactly. It still comes down to your personal happiness over the fact that we can better the black community.
So are you trying to tell me that raising kids is not about happiness?
It's not.
Are you trying to tell me that relationships and marriage is not about happiness?
Nah, I don't think it is.
Or what do you think?
I mean,
it is?
if you look at the societies and communities that's thriving, they don't put their happiness in the forefront.
It's
right?
not paramount, is what you're saying.
Yeah, happiness is not something that's most important to communities that thrive. It's duty and a responsibility for the child, the family, and the community.
I think
that as black people, sometimes we're selfish and we just want what we want and we don't think about the greater good of everyone who looks like us.
Can I add something to that?
What's up?
I want to talk about happiness versus satisfaction. Right? I think that happiness is more instant in my example, because it probably not, but to me, happiness is more instant, where satisfaction is delayed gratification to a degree. So there might be a instant happiness that you might get from leaving your situation. There might be an instant happiness that you might get from whatever choice you might make. But you want to understand that happiness versus satisfaction. So I think that overall you'll be more satisfied if you stuck out your relationship and made it work and raised 2 kids. As opposed to, and that sense of satisfaction is a deeper sense of happiness and fulfillment than you will actually feel more fulfilled. Sticking out.
More women are not having kids right now, right? Look at the studies. Childbirth is down. Marriages are declining.
Right.
And when you look at the paradox, right, there's like some studies that came out detailing a woman's happiness on a chart. More women are on anti-anxiety medications. This is not me saying this. This is based on stats. More women are on antidepressants, are just taking more medication because of stress and anxiety.
Right.
Births are down. Marriage is declining. So what does that tell you? I mean, I don't have to come to the conclusion, right? Just saying what the conclusion is based on that. You can say it for yourself, right? As a whole, the American family system is declining, and it's sad. We have to get back to understanding what marriage was about. What was the point of marriage? Marriage was not about happiness. Like, we don't own happiness. Happiness is an emotion that we'll have some days and we won't others, right? Anger, sadness,
That's why I say happiness
frustration,
versus satisfaction.
They're all transient emotions. We don't have a monopoly on one emotion, right? And we have to understand it. And if you want the black community to be better, we have to be more purposeful. We have to put purpose and duty and responsibility before our own fucking happiness. And that's the only way we're going to thrive and get out of this deficit. But until women are able to question other women, right? Because it sounds better when it comes from another woman telling, a woman, right? Well, it sounds better when a woman asks other women, hey, what is the point of getting married? What is the point of having kids if you're not going to raise them as a family? And we all see the numbers and what the stats say. So, I mean, we just have to understand what our actions have led to up until this point and what we need to do to get out of this deficit, bro.
Society incentivized leaving, and I think that's why we do. But you made excellent points.
Thank you, my bro. I appreciate it. And then having this data and stats here, it answers
right
a lot of
now,
questions.
I got to go home and do more reading.
So let's go over the data one more time.
Yeah. Because
out of all the races, black fathers are the most involved, according to the CDC in a report in 2013. Over 55% of men have not, over 55% of men age 15 to 49 have not fathered a biological child. It's another stat, according to the CDC. According to the CDC, in comparison to other races of men, black fathers are the most involved fathers, right? According to the CDC, over 55% of men aged 15 to 49 have not fathered a biological child, right? Another data point is 60% of men are single and only 30% of women are single. So that goes to show that women are getting pregnant by the same man. There's a huge group of men, more than 55% are not having kids. not getting dates and are single. And they're not leaving marriages. 70% of women initiate divorce. So, I mean, women are picking these men, then they're leaving these men. And there's a whole group of men who are not having children. So the women are having kids with the same man. So, I mean, come on, man.
He said points. Yeah, it kind of. That's one way to look at it.
No,
so,
wait, what you mean? Bro, that's the data.
That's the data. But I'm saying when it comes to statistics, I'm not going to go too far because we could wrap this up. But when it comes to statistics, you have to look carefully at the conclusions you're drawing and how those conclusions come about. But from what the numbers say, I seem to agree with you. It seems to be that happiness is the most current, the most.
So the reason why
No, I heard what you're saying.
So the reason why most women leave marriages,
irreconcilable differences.
Nah, it's finance. When they start out earning the man, that's the number one.
And then irreconcilable differences.
I think so. I think it's infidelity, right? Infidelity or
irreconcilable differences.
Yeah,
which is like falling out of love.
Yeah, but I think the most. So the prominent thing we have to take away from is that when women out earn the man, right? Then the happiness. Or like you said, irreconcilable differences, right? That comes.
Yeah, she falls out of love. She's gonna fall out of love with you. She makes more money than you.
Yeah.
But we can wrap it up now because that's pretty much it. Based off of those statistics, we got to continue this conversation in the comments. I need the women. I need the women to respond. I need them to give me the insight.
What's going on?
Let's have a fruitful discussion in the comments below.
And until next time, this is the Guys Podcast Capture Media. We out.
Peace.